Hey, thank you for joining us. We're here in Nashville for the AAPCP conference. It's a great conference going on here. I've been asking everyone this question here. How did you get into physician compensation?
I can't say it was as planned 100%. I started off really early. My mom worked in healthcare administration at a local entity. My dad worked in the horse business for the longest time, so I like to think that when I was born at the hospital and the health system I actually work at currently, that I got his work ethic and her smarts at the end of the day. And so as I was going through schooling, I volunteered at a cancer center early on and was handing out peanut butter crackers to patients that were getting infusions. And when I was in high school, I got the opportunity to do some career exploration. So I would go to high school half the day, and the other half of the day I would go to the OR and shadow physicians. And that's where I got hooked, just to see, that they could provide their skills and perform just these crazy surgeries. And at the end of high school, I said, I want, whatever job you all have at the hospital. Didn't care what it was, didn't do my research, and I ended up ending up in sterile processing. And when I started in sterile processing, it taught me a lot of really good life lessons about building credibility, and you could do 10,000 things right, but if you did something wrong, and just how that felt, and just kind of handling things from decontamination to organizing everything so surgeons could perform their duties. And then I ended up working for Stryker Medical, so I was back in the OR, took call. So when physicians talk about, hey, you don't know what it's like taking call, I was like, well, I did take call at a level 1 trauma center, in fact, and we covered about 50 different physicians. And once I got through all my schooling, I knew I wanted to be in healthcare full time, and had the opportunity to join the hospital I was born at, and kind of start doing some physician integration activities. And so it started off learning. Didn't really have formal training programs or anything like that. It was all a lot of on-the-job training. I'm very thankful for the mentorship and the partnerships that I had throughout that. But that's really where it started, and then it just kind of grew and expanded from the market to the region, and then we formalized the medical group, which took about 6 or 7 different smaller medical groups and centralized them. And then over the last 10 years, really been ramping up from that comp and contracting standpoint in terms of designing and implementing. So it's kind of been my journey to date here. So.
What a cool story. I love the passion of just seeing care being delivered and the hospital that you were born at. What a cool story of you kind of growing into that role there. I love that. So when you go home at the end of the day, what does your family think that you actually do?
So my wife is actually works at the hospital too. So we met there when I was in sterile processing and doing a floor run, and kind of met her, and we had a mutual friend. My kids would say that, Daddy negotiates all day, or he's just at that computer all the time, and just really kind of performing a lot of those high level analytics, and then coupling that with the interpersonal skills of just negotiating things and changing initiatives. And these are going to be tough conversations, and so that's really what they know I do. I think my wife sometimes gets a little bit frustrated with me because the doctors know that I'm her husband, and so they'll track her down to try to get to me. Say, hey, when's your husband going to call me? Or hey, what's your husband doing about my contract? And so she's part of that experience as well.
As we kind of see what's going on in the marketplace, is there like a specialty that's kind of bubbling up that's getting a little bit more attention, maybe tough to recruit, or getting a lot more pressure from?
Yeah, 2 come to mind. We're getting ready to do some system-wide reviews for neurology and GI, and so we've certainly seen those kind of expand to be the outpatient side of things, and now it's the inpatient side of things, and now it's some subspecialty with the advance on the GI side, and maybe some stroke-specific stuff on the neurology side. So really just making sure we're getting all of that accounted for. So we've got quite a few markets we serve in, 2 different states, and just really trying to account for everything and making sure that at the end of the day that we're market competitive, we're able to recruit and retain top talent, and then we do it in a financially sustainable way.
Actually, I know I've heard so much about GI hospitalists at this conference here. So it seems like it's a common theme for your organization. Now, as we get our predictive and magic 8 balls looking forward, where do you think the provider workforce management piece of that, if we look forward from 5 years from now, where do you think provider comp teams are going to look like?
I think they're going to have to be larger, because I think there's going to have to be more conversations, and I think when you're looking at kind of going through all these different initiatives, at some point in time, I think the rocket race of physician comp is going to hit a certain threshold, right? And so operating margins at the hospital and the health systems are shrinking. You had the pandemic that people are still recovering from as well. And I think these leaders can provide a lot of value in terms of having those conversations with physicians. And so you don't necessarily want your COO, in my opinion, kind of dealing with comp administration issues or anything like that, but having these leaders that have that skill set of the analytical side of the world, as well as the interpersonal side, to be able to connect with physicians and deal with their frustrations and understand that, if the bank ended up messing up your paycheck, even 1% of the time, you'd want a new bank, probably. So compensation is very important. I think these folks can play a critical role, and I think as everybody kind of keeps increasing to keep up with that margin in terms of their volumes, you just need more support staff. So I think this is a critical piece to the infrastructure of carrying out health systems missions.
Excellent. Great insight. Appreciate the time today.
Yeah.
I'm going to let you go back to the conference,
All right,
and thank you
thanks
for
so much.
stopping by.
Yeah, appreciate you having me.